Hello, so my name is Marie-Louise O'Neill from Lovely Evolution and also White Star, and here is the lovely Paul Drake from White Star. And this morning I woke up and went, how can we help all these people who are probably panicking? And the first thing that people often do is go, right, slash the marketing, put everything in the bin, go under the duvet and quiver for the next 2 weeks, 2 months, God knows how much longer. Yeah. And everyone is panicking and just stopping what they're doing. And I get that we are all kind of reflecting on what's going on and trying to take stock and make sense of what is kind of very crazy situation we're in. But actually the worst thing that people can do is to stop marketing, to stop talking about what they do. And we need to start thinking about how we all can help each other. So that's why I've gathered together sort of the host of experts that we've got here on the call, so that anyone who wants some help can ask some questions, as well as just sort of impart some top tips, so that we can get through this. That it may still be a bit too soon to be thinking about how we can turn this into an opportunity, but we can at least look at how we can survive, what tactics, and make sure that we come out of this at the other end in the best possible shape. So what I'd like you to think about is some top tips sort of that's centered around your expertise, that can help those that are either watching this call back or are joining us on the call today. So just as a sort of bit of an intro, we've got here, our experts are Jessica Shailess, who's going to be talking about marketing. We have got Laura Ann, who's going to be talking about social media. Paul Drake is going to be talking about websites. Myself will cover kind of branding and particularly Canva. We've got Stephen Church, who's going to be talking about copywriting, and Trudie Avery, who's also going to be talking about branding and design. We've also got a few other kind of experts. We've got a few copywriters and other people who may join us. So feel free to share your expertise, and we can go through that. So I'm going to put it into gallery view so I can hopefully see most people. Yay! We've got a few people here. So big shout out. Thank you so much for joining us, for those that have joined us live. So who would like to start off with their top tips? Just do a little wave. Okay, Jess, you're the first. So if you want to unmute yourself and just have a little talk about, sort of explain a little bit about what you do for those that don't know yourself, and just sort of any top tips that you can share.
Brilliant, yeah. So I run a full service marketing company, but my main goal is really around strategy and aligning the marketing strategy to the business goals. And I think your point about marketing being the first thing to be cut is a good point. There's something that I saw yesterday actually, was where somebody said, those that stop marketing at this point, for them the crisis will continue long after the pandemic has finished. And I think that's a really important point. There's a really good video from the 70s where there are two balls that are being bounced. I'll find it and I'll share it actually. And it was talking about a time of recession, and that the one where they stopped spending, the ball stopped bouncing. So I just wanted to kind of support that point. I think one of the problems that a lot of people are having is how to be supportive without being opportunistic. And I think the way that you can do that is to look at what your original business vision and goals are and how you already support people, and then just reinforce that with your messaging on whatever channel it is. I've seen a few examples of this done quite well, and it can be an opportunity to have quite an emotive message come out. Prep was the example that I talked about yesterday, but a lot of us aren't dealing with massive business to consumer companies. We're dealing with maybe other ones. So there's an accountancy and business advisors called Charnwoods, and their autoresponder is really well done. For example, the way that they're responding to people and being supportive. They also have proactively sent out a presentation, which, because their clients are are small businesses and business owners, the thing that they've proactively sent out have been very much supporting what they're probably going through and the concerns that they have, and how this crisis is what is affecting their people concerns. And it's almost like a checklist to go through, which I think has been done really well. My auntie is a yoga instructor, and she's taking things online, for example, and she's actually offering more support more regularly to help people with their feelings of anxiety, more than she would do if she was restricting to just maybe weekly classes. So I think that's a really good way of giving your message or reinforcing your message, and more consistently at a time when people are emotionally fraught and, you know, things like that. So I think that's really the main thing, so that I don't trounce all over whatever anyone else has to say in different arenas like social media. I don't want to touch on you know, how you do this on your website or whatever else, but I think starting with your strategy and how the business already supports people and reinforcing that is important.
Brilliant, thank you. Would anyone else like to follow Jess? Okay, Laura Ann, if you unmute yourself and go for it.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yay! Fantastic. No, I completely agree with Jess as well about, you know, just double checking your strategy and actually reinforcing the things that you're offering already. I would say, you know, on your social media, be very careful about any information you're sharing. There are lots and lots of scams going on at the moment. There's loads of, I mean, the whole ibuprofen thing as well. It's just be really careful. If it's not relevant to your business, I wouldn't share it, because you don't, at the moment, we don't really know which element of it is true and which element of it isn't. So I would just be really, really careful about that. I would make sure that you keep interacting with your followers. Don't just go completely quiet, because if you just completely shut everything down, you'll lose all of the momentum that you've built in interacting with people on your social media anyway, and you'll be starting from scratch. So definitely keep posting, keep being present. You can be giving people the gift of your time. So if you've got someone who is perhaps commenting, going, oh my God, I'm really, really nervous about this, I don't know how it's going to affect my business, you can always say, you know, okay, well, you know, I'm friendly ear, direct message me if you want to, and, you know, I'll see if there's any little bits that I can suggest that might help. And, you know, just keep yourself really open to actually having the conversations with your followers and with people who they might become customers in 6 months' time. You don't know. So I think you still have to have that generous spirit, really. And the other thing I would say is be very careful not to complain too much. I've seen a lot of posts this morning that have been like, oh, I've just lost 2 retainers, oh, I've just lost 6 months worth of work. Everybody is in the same boat. So it's almost like, oh, my life's worse than yours kind of thing, and it's not going to reflect very well on you, I think, if the only thing that you're using your social media for is to complain rather than to empathize with everybody else. There's quite a few posts about people complaining about having to spend time with their kids, which I can completely understand that it's an absolute ball ache to suddenly have the schools closed, and particularly if you don't work from home already anyway. But there will also be people who are genuinely completely up the creek without a paddle. Whereas if you're kind of posting going, oh, I have to spend time with my 2 children, oh, it's awful, you're just going to upset and alienate people. So again, just be mindful of how other people are feeling, because, you know, if you already work from home, it's not massively different for us if you work from home full time anyway. So you can, again, just be really empathetic, and let's not use social media as a soapbox platform to complain about everything, because everybody is in the same boat and you won't get any sympathy, essentially.
I think that last point is particularly poignant, because I think when we were all taking in, trying to work it out, what the hell is going on, we're all sort of feeling a bit sensitive and raw. I certainly took a little bit of a step back of not being on social media that much in general. Like, I was sort of there a little bit, but I was getting quite stressed out myself, seeing all these posts of like all these empty shelves and stuff like that. And then the tide has turned with a lot more of a like people coming together, which is great. Like, how can we support each other, and all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say you definitely keep to the bright side on your social media as much as you can. Don't lie to people and say yes, everything's fine, and then 2 days later be curled up in the fetal position under your desk going, oh my god, everything's awful. But at the same time, we just need to try to focus on the positive elements of it, because it's going to stand out more from the negative. There's so many people who are posting, oh my god, life is awful, everything's over. That if you actually post something going, okay, here's a way for you to cope with the like the social media sadness that happens when everybody posts something negative. It's okay, switch your phone off for an hour. You can actually put time limits on your phone for how long you spend on social media, and just these kind of little extras that you can be offering people as a way to almost slow down the panic.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that. If you could mute yourself, Laura-Ann. Okay, who would like to be next? Put your hand up. Stephen Church.
Keep going with mine. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So if you,
how's that?
That's.
Am I suitably unmuted?
You are suitably unmuted. I think we're all nodding. We can hear you.
Yes. I'm going to show you something inappropriate. And no, I'm not naked from the waist down. I'm going to show the inappropriate Christmas present that my son-in-law bought me that I've been drinking from. That's it there. Is that suitably inappropriate? Good. It's got, have I been muted again? Can you hear me? Good. Okay. It's lovely to see you all. It's nice to see Mark, the keto man, pretending to be cooking in his kitchen. He's been dashing from side to side. I know he's not actually doing any cooking. Oh, he is. Oh, there we are. That looks brilliant. Yeah, okay. So I should get serious and not waste all your time. I've written some notes here. I think can't disagree with anything anybody's said so far. It might well be that we all have more time than we've had before. It might be that we've gained that extra time, not because business drops off, but because the traveling we were doing to and from networking, we're now saving that time because we're doing it remotely, as we did with the business community this morning, which was a very successful remote meeting. So if we do have extra time, for whatever reason, clearly giving our marketing a sort of wash and brush up, a refresh is a jolly good idea. Yeah, Jessica, of course, you're absolutely right. It would be suicidal to slow down on it, to cut down on it. And clearly it is the interest of 4 or 5 people sharing this session, who are all copywriters. Looking at one's web copy is a very good thing to do. There are all kinds of ways of doing it. And I've just made a little list here, and I'm not going to bore you all by going into any detail, but just little things like look on every page, do a little count up of the number of I's, me's, we's, and mine and ours there are, as opposed to you, yours, and your. Do a little score and see if you can change it all around so that the I's outnumber so the U's outnumber the I's by at least 3 to 1. So for example, where you might put on your website, I'll provide you with this, that, and the other, change it around to you'll receive this, that, and the other. And I've got a whole load of little tips here. I don't think it would be appropriate for me to go through them. But what I am doing, and you might consider doing the same for your own websites, I'm putting on certain my web pages a click through for people to download a free PDF on almost every aspect of copywriting. I've done the one for business templates. If you go on my website and look at copywriting for print, you'll see there's business letter templates. If you click on that, you can download a PDF, a guide on ways to improve your business templates. So you can do that on your own websites. You can create PDFs, use MailChimp to sign people up to get the PDFs, and impart free information. I'm sure you all know that it never does any harm to give stuff away free. It only increases your reputation as an authority, as somebody who knows what they're doing. So yes, I agree, we must all try to be more supportive. Ring people up, chat to them. If you're not sure about any element of copywriting, give any of the copywriters who are in this meeting out, give them a quick call. Say, well, Stephen says I should be refreshing my website. Where should I start? Ask people to give you a free review. I'm very happy to do that. So I hope I haven't crossed Jessica's line into promoting too much rather than supporting. I'm very keen to support. And so I think that's probably all. All I'm saying is use your friends, use your contacts, give copywriters a ring. They're a lovely, most generous set of people you could possibly imagine. They will support you. They will help you. Shall I shut up now?
That was fabulous. Thank you, Stephen. Just on the sort of touching on what you were talking about, there's a few people who've been involved in the latest book for Buscom, and this is a really great resource for people who are either having a business that's quite established or quite new, and I believe you've got an article or chapter in it which will cover quite, Stephen, it will cover some, you can just sort of nod.
Yes.
That covers sort of some really good tips on copywriting in general. There's some marketing. I think possibly Jess is maybe featured on it. I'm not sure. I can't remember. No, she's not. Oh, sorry. Boo. Boo. But yeah, so there's lots of great advice in there, whether you're new to business or not. Okay. So our Trudie's all ready to go. Unmute yourself, please, my lovely.
I just want to say that, come on, guys, it's not all doom and gloom out there. Actually, I thought to myself, oh, God, nobody's going to want a logo now, are they? Who's going into business? But this morning, I've had 2 phone calls from people who are actually using this time and saying, now is the time that I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get out there. So it's kind of given us a little bit of a gift of time, and all the little side hustles that can now be turned into something potentially while you're at home. And there are some cheap and cheerful ways of starting up a company and getting your brand established and getting it out there. So it's not all doom and gloom. You gotta reach out and take opportunities and just do it.
Thank you. And I know you've got an online course which could help people, if they're sort of doing a bit of a DIY approach, certainly for the short term. Can you tell us just very quickly a little bit about that? Because that might help people who are either on this call or watching this on playback.
Brand on a shoestring is just that. It's about creating your logo, your brand, your website, your marketing materials, but how to do it yourself, but how to do it properly. Obviously, all the experts around the table, we can all do an amazing job, but sometimes people don't have the budget and they just want to make a decent job of being able to do it themselves right from that early stage where potentially they don't have the clients and the money to invest in it, but they do have the time and the willingness and the keenness to get on and do it themselves. So yeah, there's shed loads of advice out there, but do your research, do your due diligence, and just you know, try and educate yourself to the fact that your brand is more than just your logo. Your brand is so much more than that. It's about how you present yourself to the world and how the world perceives you. Your brand only exists in the hearts and minds of the people who are looking at you. So give yourself the best opportunity to look good by knowing who you are, why you're special, who you serve, and then from a visual perspective, there's so many things that you can do to make yourself look better. So to design a better logo by understanding what fonts mean, what colours mean, to understand how to create a better website or a better brand over all of your marketing platforms by being consistent with your colours and your fonts and your messaging. And all of that. And that's what Brand on a Shoestring is all about. It's about giving people that information and helping them to do it themselves.
Fabulous. And also just finally, sort of on sort of branding and sort of what you do, you've also, you're very active certainly on LinkedIn. I see your posts all the time. You do little videos and posts. So there's a lot of information. So if you're not already connected to Trudie Avery on LinkedIn, I suggest you do so, because whether you use Trudie or myself or another designer out there for your brand, there's a lot of great advice that you share on that. So brilliant. Okay, let's have a quick look on the gallery view. Did you want to have a go next? Talk about websites? Yeah. Okay, we'll go next. Thank you, Trudie.
A lot of the stuff I was going to talk about on websites has been covered already, but things like looking at your website in this, when you've got a few minutes, like Stephen said, does it still reflect your business? Does it still talk about what you want it to talk about? And does it still talk to your customers the right way? Does it fit in with the rest of your branding, as Trudie was saying? Look at your images. Are they good enough quality? Are they small enough so that they load quickly? And is the site easy to navigate around? Is it very complicated? If so, then simplify it. Just do that. The other things, though, not website related, but I'm a techie, so techie stuff. If you find yourself with time on your hands, look at your processes. Are they as lean as they can be? Are they as efficient as they can be? Look at the tools that you use. Are they the right tools? Are they better tools? Are they cheaper tools that can do the same sort of job? I mean, you might pay stupid amounts of money for a CRM system. As long as it's not come from Ashish, of course you wouldn't want to dump that. But you look at HubSpot, which is free, but it's a really, really quite a good CRM system.
And also it's got a feature that I found recently that you can scan business cards on it, or you can download a free app on your phone that's HubSpot, and then it links in with that.
It all in, yeah. So. Things like that. And is there anything you can automate? Someone talked about using MailChimp and stuff like that to automate stuff. It's free, it's easy. Take this time to learn about that stuff, to have a look. There's lots of stuff on there, lots of education on there. Again, the HubSpot stuff has got some amazing courses on it for free. So look at those. Just use this time so that when you come out the other side, you hit the ground running. You're fit and ready to go, and as lean as you can possibly be, and ready to go. And little Ren's waving at me.
I was just going to say Skillshare as well is a free platform, so that could be quite helpful for anyone who's looking at DIYing things. Skillshare is quite helpful.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you for that.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, I shall do my little top tips. So some of you know that alongside sort of advocating sort of branding evolution and working with Paul Drake and doing website designing, all sorts, I advocate the use of Canva. So for those that don't know, Canva is a free and paid for tool that you can have on your desktop. There's lots of design templates there, so you can create anything. There is a whole host of stuff in there. So my sort of top tips around sort of what you're creating content-wise, whether it's putting it on social media, maybe doing mail outs, updating your website is making sure that you're being consistent. So we've sort of kind of covered, a few people have said about using this time to really reflect on what your core business values are, you know, making sure that you're looking at, you know, who's your target market. Jessica Shailess has done some great talks about, you know, who's your ideal customer. You know, they can be called avatars as well. If you Google ideal client, you can get really clear and work out who you are, you know, who you're really aiming your services to. You can have more than one ideal client, but really think about it, you know, with what has happened to your business and to everyone's business, has your ideal market and customer changed? It may well have done. Has the way you do business changed, and therefore what you're communicating is different? So use this time to look at what you're putting out on social media, what's your, you know, your profiles looking like, what's your website, everything, and making sure it's consistent across there, because with that consistency, it breeds that repetition of that message. It looks more professional, and you're going to get a better response. So even if people are putting stuff on hold right now, you're still building up your presence, and able to sort of move forward, and be in a much stronger place when things do start picking up again. In Canva, you know, feel free to like have a play, you know, if you're very new to it, you know, maybe experiment, have a play, but then when you sort of hit on the kind of look that you want, be consistent with your logo usage, your fonts, your colors, etc. And look at how you can help people. We kind of covered that with the, you know, sort of supporting people, offering free advice. And then in terms of how I can help people with Canva, whether it's yourself or people that you know, I've got a free Facebook group which is called Lovely Canva Crew, and I share sort of videos, top tips. You can upload images of stuff that you're working on already, and ask for sort of feedback. That's working really well. So, you know, don't be afraid to be like, oh, I'm doing this sort of flyer or social media post or an infographic. What's your feedback? And myself and lots of other people will jump on and make some really kind of constructive comments with that. Earlier this year, I launched an online membership, and I've decided, before even all of this kind of lovely thing happened of like crazy time, before all of that happened, I feel like I should jazz hand now, I don't know why. Before all of that happened, I had decided to open up my membership to be free for 3 months, just to get the buzz going. And actually it's just great that I can offer that now when everyone is sort of tightening their budgets, that, you know, you can learn how to do stuff yourself on Canva, get some support, and you know, do the best you can with the resources that you are. And just generally, you know, don't be afraid to ask for help, connect with people, message people that you trust for advice, and you know, don't be afraid to sort of show your more vulnerable side, but as Laura Ann said, don't complain. There's a difference between saying, hey, I'm not okay, but without being kind of a moany Mary. I just wanted to point out a couple of other resources that I know of that can help people. So Samantha Cameron is another social media expert. She's got an online course which I think she has slashed the price on. So have a look, you know, get in contact with her if you want some help with that, of sort of learning some resources all about social media. And I'm a part of something called the Cougar Academy, which is an online marketing training membership, and it's really helped me. Like, I know a bit about marketing, but it's really has been, I've been a member for like a year and a half, and even stuff that I know on, I'm like, oh, I can do it that way. So having something like that where you're doing stuff yourself, but you could do better. You know, there's plenty of like MailChimp courses out there. You know, there's like various other online courses. Is it Udemy? I don't know. Udemy. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But yeah, you know, reach out to those people in your network and say, have you got any free or affordable resources or training if you're doing it yourself in the short term? So, okay, so we're about to run out of time. We've got probably about 5 minutes. So I'm going to put it back into gallery view so I can see everyone. Would anyone like to quickly ask a question? Okay, I've got 9 minutes. If anyone wants to wave and ask or contribute.
Sorry.
Chris Lambert is interrupting. He's waving over.
Everybody.
Everyone, we got a few people. If you need IT support, Chris Lambert, everyone's waving back.
I know most of those.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Lee's a bit dodgy.
Most
of the rest of clients.
Yeah.
Bye.
High five. Cool. Okay. So would anyone else like to ask a question or add to that? I know we've kind of done a bit of a whistle stop kind of overview. Okay, Kevin, if you look like you're waving, so just unmute yourself, crack on.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can. Great. Okay. Just a thought, actually, just to add everything that everybody said to be absolutely fantastic. You know, it's really positive and everybody's right on that. And one thing I just want to add to it, people who've been around a while and seen a few of these things, recessions and all sorts of problems that come along, will tell you one thing is absolutely true, whether it's at a corporate level or a small business. The best thing to do when times are tough is to expand into them, not to contract away from them. You know, we used to call it the Woolworths principle. That's exactly what went wrong with them. When times were good, they expanded and expanded. And when times were hard, they couldn't maintain it. They didn't know who their core audience was anymore. So, you know, what I'm saying to clients is, look, focus on your smallest viable audience. Keep the business going. Keep talking to people, like Laura was saying. Keep talking. Keep making the point. Keep being out there and keep supporting your customers as much as you can. But really remember who your core customers are, so that they are still with you when things ease up again. You know, because in the end, that's what's going to keep you in business and keep you going, isn't it?
So we have someone from Fleetworks has got no mic on his PC, so I'm presuming it's he, could be a she, has said, how acceptable is it to offer a free intro for a service in light of COVID-19, is it? It's Mark Lee, apparently. Okay. So does anyone have an answer to that? You know, wants to share an opinion on that? How acceptable is it to offer a free intro for a service in light of everything going on? Just unmute yourself.
Yeah,
crack on. Yeah, unmute yourself, Jess.
I mean, this sounds very similar to what a lot of people do. And so we offer a free intro. I suppose it's whether I understand the question fully is probably if you mean an introduction in the way that I do anyway. I do like a free marketing consultation. I know there's lots of people around who are in the call also offer something free, as it is, and that is a supportive way to get to know somebody. If what it is that you, referring back to my first point, if it is in line with your values anyway, then you're again reinforcing them. So it depends on if I've understood what you mean by a free intro. Do you mean like an offer?
Well, Mark can put a message in the chat and say whether that's answered his question or not. Anyone else got any questions that they'd like to ask? You know, the panel of experts. We've got a whole range. Okay, Matthew, if you just unmute yourself, please.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please.
Yes, it's probably similar to Mark's question in a way. So, as an accountant, feel in a good position to be able to help people with cash flow forecasting or any kind of business advice and things. But I guess it's sort of advertising that without. I don't want to appear opportunistic. It's here to help. And yeah, it's just I've got a Facebook marketing campaign that I was going to put live, and I'm thinking, oh, should I do that? Shouldn't I do that? It sounds like I probably should carry on based on the advice now, but yeah, just trying to find that balance really, and not wanting to appear to be making money out of people's misfortune or difficult times. Okay,
well, to answer that, I would say get a second opinion from one or two copywriters. For example, we've got Stephen Church here, Natalie Trembecki, we've got Susan Hammond.
Yeah.
And yeah, just get get a feedback from someone else who can read through it and check that the tone of voice, that the core offering and the spirit of what you're trying to offer is the same. Because I've sometimes done that where I put a post out or email, and even if I'm offering something for free, it kind of comes across salesy, and I'm really just trying to help. Or you might think, oh God, maybe that's too salesy, and you hold yourself back. So get a second opinion from an expert. You know, like I said, there's a few on this call. Look at who's in your network. Just don't be afraid to say, look, can I have some feedback on this? You know, is it hitting the right tone of voice? You know, arrange a one-to-one. Laura Ann, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Matt, if you want to throw it over at me, I'll have a quick scan of it for you. I think the important thing is to make sure that, as Marie-Louise says, make sure you're striking the right tone. So it is, you know, this is genuinely, this is not profiteering. This is to help people. This is, you know, I'm offering people some free advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I put in, please?
Yes, go for it, edit.
Matthew, hi. I'm in exactly the same position. I've taken the decision, I know this sounds really weird, but I've taken the decision that where I deem the clients to be liquid enough, it would become chargeable. But anyone who is in genuine hardship, I'm just going to have to do it for free for as long as I can't justify it, but it's a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we've got 3 minutes left. Has anyone want to ask the last question before we wrap up and head off into the sunset or wherever you're going? Don't know.
Rain in this case.
Yeah. Anyone? Just either wave or just unmute yourself and say, okay, Jess.
It's not so much a question as a point, and it's actually reinforcing what some people have already said or kind of alluded to. For some people, they're experimenting with business models and ways of doing business that they maybe have meant to for a long time but never had the opportunity, and it's forcing that. For me, I've wanted to take our courses online for a really long time. I've never had the time to sit down and video them, but now I do, because I'm not in meetings all the time, which took up quite a lot of my time. So I think I'm obviously catching up with stuff while I was sorting out the IT, but I plan to put some time aside and think about how I can do work differently, how we can change our business model to adapt to this. And I think that's a message that we can maybe all feel here or consider here. That was just what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Brilliant. Well, I shall wrap up then. So thank you everyone for joining us in the panel of experts, and for those who watch this on playback, thank you. Trudie, be happy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, just keep swimming as we're finding Nemo. So yeah, just keep swimming. So yeah, so just quickly, bye everyone. Take care.